yeah, Tom Brady would always play well, but they would have other facets that I felt could carry them at times. I'm not sure they're that team this year. I feel like it's about Brady, which is a great problem to have, is that Tom Brady has to play well. But, come playoff time, oftentimes you have to win away from what you do best. And so I'm not sure this team is going to be able to win without Tom Brady playing extremely well. And so I think they need every advantage they can get this year. That's why home field advantage for me is extremely important. I like their schedule going forward, but there's some other teams that are right there with them. If they slip up a little bit, have to go on the road, I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I am too. I'm concerned about their inconsistency. They've beaten good teams like Kansas City, Chicago, Houston, but then on the other hand, Michael, you mentioned it, they lose to teams like Jacksonville, the Lions, right? The Titans, those kind. They've been up and down. One of the reasons is Gronk. And Akib, you mentioned it. He has missed 3 games. But even when he plays at 64 yards receiving per game, that's the lowest output for him since his rookie year. He still seems to be a little bit in ill health. I don't know how healthy he is. And so they're inconsistent for a lot of reasons. But right now, they don't seem to me as dominating as they always have been.
My concerns are not, it has nothing to do with the Patriots. It has everything to do with the Kansas City Chiefs, who can score points, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who can score points, and who both their defenses are starting to find ways to get turnovers and score as well. So I think as long as Tom Brady and those guys are doing everything, you have to understand that if you can score points, and we saw that, if you can score points, you can beat them. Kansas City went into New England and scored 40 points. How many times have we seen that? I think Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers are finding ways to get better, too, through all the distractions they've had throughout the season. So I think you guys are right. Yes, it's health and all these different things, but once you get in the playoffs, you're playing juggernaut teams week in, week out. You're going to have to go to Kansas City. You may have to go to Pittsburgh. You're going to play them again here in a couple weeks, but if you don't win those games, it's going to be tough.
Well, if you take a look at the bottom of the screen right there, it's rare to see the Patriots in the middle of a 7-3 mosh pit and a half game behind Pittsburgh, who they do visit. They do get the Vikings in their house
they already beat
next
Kansas
week.
City.
They do have, today's the first of 2 remaining games against the Jets. They have the Bills in their house later on this year. So they will have, there are more wins for them on the schedule right there. They do visit the Dolphins. We all know that's usually a house of horrors for New England, if there is one for them that you could call. So they're in this mix right now. And the question is can they get caught? They have a tie break on the Texans. They won there in week 1. They've got a tie break on Kansas City. They won't need a tie break against Pittsburgh because of that tie. So we'll see. I mean, we will absolutely see how that all plays out. Meanwhile, in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Giants after the Cowboys and Redskins had at it on Thanksgiving. Last we saw, the Eagles in London, they got to 500. Everything looked hunky-dory, and now they've lost 2 in a row, while the Giants have won 2 in a row. Steve Wyche in a mostly sunny in Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial.
Well, that's right, Rich. And look, part of the Giants' resurgence it's happened because the offense is playing better. Eli Manning is not throwing as much. Saquon Barkley is running more. And speaking to people with the team, that's because of the improved play of the offensive line. A couple changes there over the past few weeks have led to this. Spencer Pulley playing at center, and Jamon Brown, a former starter with the Rams, got cut in October. The Giants cleaned him off waivers. He started at right guard. Their ability to run the ball has allowed Eli Manning to play under center more, opened up more options of the offense. But to get to Brown, his former teammate Alec Ogletree, now a linebacker with the Giants, said he basically is a dog and has changed the attitude, and that's why things are better. And now for more on 2 teams headed in opposite directions, here's a video on the Eagles and the Giants.
Throws to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Odell Beckham Jr. He lobs one left for Beckham again, who's got it. Touchdown. Odell does a little dance.
Wentz takes the snap, he lets it go, and it's intercepted. Eagles had a golden opportunity, now they just give it right back. Eagles defense could not keep them out of the end zone. The fans are booing.
Manning rolls right, throws right, wide open, Barkley, touchdown.
Isn't it fun?
Hurdles to Manning, gets into the end zone. Wow! Woo!
Walking in for the touchdown is Mark Ingram. The nightmare continues. This is absolutely a disaster. Are they going for it? Well, why not? They can do anything. Breeze firing for Kamara. Caught. It gets worse. And this embarrassment continues.
So the New York Giants, look at what's happened, as we mentioned, the last couple of weeks. They've stopped turning it over. They're scoring more points. Now you could say, well, okay, they beat Nick Mullins in San Francisco and took out Fitzpatrick and Fitzmagic when he was into their house. That said, you are what you are, Steve Mariucci.
You are, and you know what? This Eagles defense, I'm worried about them. Like you mentioned, Rich, in London they look pretty darn good, and all of a sudden they're a different team now, right, Mike? And will it be able to slow down this Giants offense? And you know, I have a laundry list of guys that are not playing.
And that's the key.
Think about their secondary. In fact, this week in practice, they had to use receivers to simulate the DBs because they didn't have enough to go around. Rodney McLeod, right? Darby, Mills, Jones, Maddox, and then, of course, Barnett and Hicks are out, too. I mean, this defense is decimated. So I don't know if they're going to try to double Odell Beckham like they did Michael Thomas last week or not. But then the other guys make plays galore. It's going to be a tough job